Woodburn China podcast with me, Christina Kohler-Coluccia from Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. Our daily episodes on solving your China business pain points are there to help China leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs with the daily struggles they may be facing while setting up and operating in China. We look at corporate administrative battles such as tax planning, incorporation, accounting, human resource, and labor, as well as cultural and language nuances that may occur. I hope you enjoy the episode. Today, we're going to be looking at whether you are planning to close shop in China, which is a very sad discussion to have if you are. But liquidating a company in China involves a formal process and must be done in compliance with the Chinese laws and regulations. The process is complex, it is time consuming. And today I want to just highlight a little bit about the steps that are involved in the liquidation of a company in China. So going into a bit of detail, the first step is having a board resolution in place. The China company's board of directors should pass a resolution that they are wanting to dissolve the company. This resolution needs to be recorded in the meeting minutes. The shareholders' meeting should be convened to approve the dissolution and appoint a liquidation committee. The decision to dissolve the company typically requires 2/3 of the majority vote. And if you have only an executive director, then it's up to the executive director to push all of this. A liquidation committee is appointed comprising of members from the company's management and shareholders, but can also include external parties like the firm that is helping you to go through the liquidation process. The committee's primary responsibility is to oversee the liquidation process, and should there be any issues with the tax clearance or with creditors, then a decision has to be made amongst that committee. The next step is notifying the creditors, right? You need to notify the creditors of the company's intention to liquidate and to close down. The creditors have the right to file claims against the company during that liquidation process. All of the company's assets and liabilities should be assessed and documented. This includes a full inventory of the company's properties, debts, obligations, etc. The company should also settle all of its debts with its creditors. This may involve negotiating payment terms, selling assets to cover those debts, etc. Then comes the tricky part, which is the tax clearance application. You need to ensure that all taxes, including profits tax, value-added tax, if you have been doing export, that your VAT refund applications are all paid and settled with the tax authorities. This process is what can become an obstacle for companies. So we've had situations where companies have lost fapiaos, in which case, if they didn't pay the penalty for that loss to the tax bureaus, they wouldn't get the tax clearance certificate. We have clients that have not been able to explain why they haven't done VAT export refund applications. We have missing documents, all leading to a lengthier process when you do the tax clearance with the tax bureaus. The next point is around employee settlement. Obviously, employees should be informed of the company's dissolution, and their employment contracts should be terminated. Any unpaid wages, termination compensation packages, allowances, all of these employment-related issues have to be settled as well. Then you've got the disposal of assets. The company should sell or transfer its assets to pay off for its debt and distribute those remaining assets to the shareholders. Once all of this is done, you cancel your licenses, permits, and registrations with the relevant authorities. You do have to file an application for deregistration with the local administration of market regulation or the Industry and Commerce Bureau. This involves submitting various documents such as the liquidation report, financial statements, tax clearance certificates, etc. Then there will be a publication of liquidation notice. So a notice of liquidation will be published in the local newspaper as well as on the AMRI's or Industry of Commerce's website to inform the public as well as the creditors. In terms of the distribution of the remaining assets, after settling all debts and obligations, the remaining assets can be distributed to the shareholders in accordance with the company's articles of association. Then comes the bank closure, and obviously any balance that is remaining within the bank account will be repatriated out back to the shareholder. Once all of this is done and the deregistration certificate has been issued, then officially the company is dissolved and liquidated at that point. Now, when you go through a closure, it's really important to get guidance from legal as well as financial professionals who can guide you through the process. One of the tips that I will provide today is that if you do decide to liquidate, it's really important to keep the administration/finance team that you have originally hired to be there in case questions come during the tax clearance. If they've been physically doing the work, then they have the history and the knowledge of what has happened within the company. They need to provide that history and knowledge to the tax authorities. So keep them on board that they can advise, or at least keep them on a freelance basis when these questions do pop up. Remember, there is no clear timeline when it comes to liquidating your entity in China. It can take anything from several months to up to, the longest it took for one of our clients was up to 2 years because of that back and forth communication. So it is tricky. It is really important to get it cleared up. Take your time in doing this process. Don't rush, which, I know defeats the purpose, because once you've decided to close in China, you just want to close the books and move on to other projects. Completely understand that, but make sure you're doing it properly and transparently. This leads me also to another tip, that if you ever do decide to dissolve the company or liquidate the company, make sure your books are properly done, are transparent, are clear, and all your filing systems are organized, and you understand what that organization system is. Thanks for listening. See you soon. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. Can Woodburn help you? I am offering a free 30-minute call where we discuss the obstacles you are encountering on your China business journey and how we can help accelerate your success. The link to my diary is in the show notes, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.